what we would see in religious symbolism as the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail. I saw clearly what the symbol meant and what it was. This was some kind of a primal shape, a spinning geometry, which was the source of everything. I knew that there was something about it. I mean, I didn't at the time know much about science or anything else in the worldly affairs, but I knew that this was something real. And what was more interesting is that there was something coming from the inside of this vision. Not only light, but there was sound coming from it. There was a sound, and the sound was love. And I could connect to it instantaneously, and the experiences I would have out of that were so profound that they cannot be described, at least in the English language. Pretty shortly after that, through a mutual friend, I was introduced by distance online. I started communicating with a initiated priest from the Haitian voodoo tradition. And we also did not talk about any of these things. We were simply just talking about religion and shamanism. I wasn't really open about sharing it too much at that time. He wanted to look at my palms to find out who my ruling spirit was. In their faith, they have a ruling spirit for each person. And I was kind of interested in that. I thought it might be neat. So we took very high-quality digital pictures of my palms, and we sent them to him so he could see every little detail. And he read the palms, and he came back to me and he said, "Your ruling spirit is Dambala, who is the serpent, who is sometimes symbolized by the caduceus, often symbolized by the Ouroboros. This was my ruling spirit, the ancient spirit of wisdom, the cosmic serpent, okay, who coils around the tree, the divine tree, which was my whole goal, to find this divine tree and to ascend into the higher world." So this, in Voodoo, which is a syncretic religion, this Dambala spirit is represented by the Catholic image of St. Patrick. And not too coincidentally, this video is being shot on St. Patrick's Day weekend, which is St. Patrick's Day coming up this week. So I was just, that was just another one. And then these dreams started to happen. Really intense, sometimes lucid dreams. They started one night when I woke up in the middle of the night, and it was like I was in a full, almost hallucinatory state in the dark, and I was looking at some kind of a machine, half-materialized looking machine. And I was paralyzed by this vision. I couldn't tell what it was, and it took about 2 minutes, and it gradually just faded out. And I felt its presence leave, and I had no idea what it was I was experiencing. I kind of wrote it off as just a dream until I saw the same exact thing in a video, a UFO video that I came across online. It was this kind of cylindrical looking probe. I saw the exact same thing on a video, and I was amazed by it. Then these UFO dreams started to occur with all these flying saucers and, you know, various situations. And every time I would have them, I was like I was looking at something that I knew from a long time ago. Like, I remember all of this. I remember this. This was from before. This is where we're going. And I would wake up from these dreams, and I would start having deeper and deeper revelations on what I was doing. At the same time, I became more and more interested in these intonations. For some reason, I took this heavy interest in the symbol of the Star of David, and I started to draw it on paper after paper after paper, making it into these fractal shapes of the Star of David. I just could not get enough of doing it, and I didn't know why, but I was meditating on the patterns, reciting the names, working with the plants, and this was coming through as something very valid and real. I began to see more evidences of it as I looked at nature. You can see it in snowflakes. You can see it really big and shockingly imprinted on the North Pole of Saturn as a giant hexagon. And when I saw that, I was even more confirmed. So I began to deepen, and I started really going and connecting more with the technology and the internet, trying to find and connect with other sources of knowledge, which previously I hadn't really used too much. Through that led me to the work of Terence McKenna. And I won't go too into that. It's all readily available online. Anybody can look up Terence McKenna, who he was and what he did. Basically, he had this idea called the time wave, which was based on the I Ching, the 64 hexagrams of the Chinese oracle, the I Ching, which I was familiar with. I had studied under many Taoist teachers, studied on the I Ching, studied Taoist Qigong meditation for years. So I saw the connections there. And Terence made his discoveries while working with the indigenous shamans in Colombia, South America. And he worked on it for many, many years and developed this mathematical theory based on the I Ching, which he called the time wave. And that is all documented in various books called Invisible Landscapes, True Hallucinations, all of which are wonderful books. And Terence has unfortunately passed away, but a wonderful and knowledgeable human being. He said one thing that really affected me profoundly, which was the deepest possible place we can go, deeper than relativity, is the Word. He brought this knowledge of the I Ching and this time wave, which was basically saying that we were converging to a place in time, that time is not straight, it's not like we think, it's resonant. The periods of history resonate. And I was experiencing that myself. And he started to develop that into this theory. So I became really interested in that. I have no mathematical skills. In fact, I'm the opposite of skilled at mathematics at the time, especially. But I really wanted to be able to understand this, to solve it, to understand the mathematics, and to show that there was something to this. So I began to research it heavily, only to give myself large headaches, to not understand the papers that were written on it, and to be increasingly more and more frustrated. What was interesting to me, though, is what Terence was involved in Colombia when he came to this realization was an experiment he did with his brother, Dennis, which was making this strange kind of almost mechanical sound in order to produce physically the philosopher's stone, the ultimate form, universal form, the convergence of all qualities, the thing which is all things to all people, the manifestation of the human soul. They wanted to create this by making this intonation, and it was through this practice and these experiments that Terence initially started developing these ideas. So I started looking more into that, but like I said, I was frustrated. I only got more headaches from it. So finally it led me to a prayer. One day I'm sitting at work. I'd been hit over and over by these strange psychic experiences. Sometimes they seem so insignificant. I would be I'd go into work, I would walk up to a lamp, and I would hear a voice in my mind go, "This lamp will not turn on today." You know, that's kind of insignificant. I would reach and turn it, sure enough, it didn't turn on. More and more, this was happening all the time. Finally, I was so frustrated one morning working on this time wave thing, trying to connect it with different numbers and number 9. I couldn't figure it out. I broke down. I said, "God, if you want me to understand this, if this is significant, if all these signs mean something, then I want the answer to the 64, and I want it right now." The very next thing that I saw was a website called the Resonance Project, which is headed by a physicist named Nassim Haramein. His work is available online as well. Nassim Haramein had a DVD out, and he was claiming to know the grand unified field theory. I decided to check out his DVD and see if maybe there was something on it I could make a connection. He was showing these symbols of the Star of David, which I was already working on, that I thought maybe connected to this wave somehow. I knew that the wave wasn't what it looked like on paper, this up and down thing. That I knew that waves weren't like that they were spirals, that they were caduceuses, that they were Ouroboruses, that this is what the true time wave would look like, but I didn't know how to model it, and I knew it was connected to the Star of David.